Hey, brother, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
It's good to see you.
Good to see you. How you feeling?
Oh, well, I had to. Okay, yeah, for the audience to know, I will say it ahead of time. Yesterday we were going to record, but something very bizarre has been happening to me. So about 4 days ago now, I started to get a weird splitting pain on the right side of my abdomen. Of course, I'm a hypochondriac, so my first inclination was like, "Oh, thank God, it's the right side, not the left side. Probably not my liver. Let's figure out what it is." So, but in the beginning, I was like, maybe it's a rib. It felt like a broken rib. So I let it be for a couple of days. It started getting worse. Yesterday morning, I knew we were gonna record at night, so in the morning, I started to get suspicious because I start Googling. Of course, that's the worst thing when you have this kind of thing, right? You start Googling, and I find, oh my God, guess where the fucking appendix is? It's on the right-hand side. So I'm like, this is the lamest thing that's ever happened to me. I'm going to have to go now do a surgery for a burst appendix or almost burst appendix. What a lame way to spend my Sunday. So I go to the hospital. Thank God I was wrong. The appendix is a bit lower. It's not the appendix. They did an x-ray. It doesn't seem to be a broken rib. And so I came back home, but right before we started recording, I was having this pain consistently, and it started to put me in like shaky and when you have a lot of pain for a few hours, you start to get weird, like tense and shit like that. So I thought it'd be better if we record today. So today I took relaxants, muscle relaxants, stuff like that to make sure that. Anyway, what's new with you since we last talked?
Okay. I got back into the gym. I was out of the gym, like when we talked. I was like 7 months out of the gym.
Really? Well, because of COVID, maybe?
COVID and getting finally clean from opioids and just everything. So
that was recent. Mashallah.
Yeah, I'm on number 6 months now, clean from all that.
Wow,
after 5 years. Yeah.
Wow, it's your first 5 months straight?
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing it fully sober or like a marijuana maintenance program, or what's your approach? Fully sober, huh? Fantastic. Wow, hey Blue, you hear us?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing? This is Armon. I don't know if you guys ever been on the same podcast.
No, I don't believe we have.
So the Armon, Blue Armon. So you were telling me, Armon, how did you end up doing that? Because that's such a huge accomplishment. How did you use a method?
I think it started back in 2016, where I had to have these 3 shoulder surgeries, and then we kind of went briefly in I think in the last podcast.
But how did you get over it? What recovery program did you use?
Dude, I did everything. I did the rapid detox that almost killed me. I did Ibogaine twice. It might work for some people. The protocol might have not been set right for me. And then I found this doctor around here. He has a clinic, and he recommended me to go to this place. It's kind of like out in the country. And, most of these detox places, they treat you like garbage. And so he's like, they're really good people and this and that. So I went over there.
They treat you like a check. Like a check.
Yeah, business to business. And so I went over there, and I knew the amount of what I told them the amount I was coming off of, and they're like, is there a mistake? Are you sure it's that much? I'm like, yeah. They're like, they're just like, we've never had someone. I was like, I know they've told me that at every place. Like, I guess because of muscle and the tolerance over the years.
Plus Persian genetics. Persian genetics, you got to admit, for teriyaki.
Yeah. And so I just stayed at this clinic for a week and a half straight, just seizures. I mean, the whole opiate thing was just beyond. It was seizures kept having to shoot me with Haldrol for seizures, give me Ativan. And I just like, this is it. I cannot ever go through this again. This is like the 20th time or 30th time I've been through the horrible withdrawals. Maybe not with a doctor, but it's just a miserable life. And before that, I never even used drugs before. I just, go to the gym and, the bodybuilding stuff, but I never used drugs before until I got hooked on all this stuff from all the surgeries. So
I don't know if I ever told you this, Armon, but one of my, I'm not that commercially driven, but one of my like passion projects is I want to start a sober living in California. or if I stay in California, with a detox facility, but like a scientifically driven one with a full-time psychiatrist and with some of the principles that we've talked about on the channel, like cerebral lysin and, developing anyway, let's not go too off topic.
Like the one Amin runs?
No, not a conspiracy theory, not a con man thing. But Bostin, congratulate Armon. He has 5 or 6 months clean from opiates. This is a huge deal, man.
Awesome,
really huge accomplishment, brother. Well, guys, I'm happy you're all back here. I'm happy to see all of you. It's been a couple of weeks. Unfortunately, we have like a lot of somewhat sad news and stuff to discuss. I thought that, by the way, for the audience to know, we were going to do actually a coaching call session today, but our most of the callers were from the East Coast, so we couldn't get them all scheduled in time. So today, instead, I thought we would talk about some of the deaths, discussions about testing, stuff like that, maybe review the recent Romania probe briefly, and then take some questions together. But before we do, I just want to mention a couple of things. For those that are not subscribed to Bostin's forum, please subscribe to the forum, not only to support Bostin, because it's going to end a lot of your problems in life, genuinely. And a couple more things I want to mention. I'm doing a series on cardiovascular disease right now. If anyone listening to this is interested in protecting their heart, I've tried to make these videos as simple as possible, no citations, just a couple of points for each video. Hopefully it can help people a little bit. And also, I wanted to mention that we're going to be posting the full podcast ahead of time from now on, just for a little bit. Our subscribers have asked many times, a lot of them, I realize, are true listeners of the podcast. They listen from the front to the end, and they don't want to wait all those clips to come out to watch it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the full podcast first, and I'll try to post clips after and see if that works, So there's a couple of notes. The other thing I want to mention, by the way, guys, this is off topic, but my daughter is laughing. Like she laughed.
What age?
Bro, she's 3 months old. Literally today I took a nap before, because you guys record at night. I can't do this. So I took a nap, woke up from the nap, literally hearing my daughter laughing. She was smiling for a couple of weeks. She was laughing, and her mother's laughing with her, and they're playing. And I was like, this is the best way to wake up. Usually when I wake up, I'm moody, like who made this noise, like my dog or whatever. I wake up hearing her laugh, and it was wonderful. Anyway, guys, so let's start with the first thing. What are your opinions on the Shawn Rhoden's passing? Let's start with Armon. Let's go one by one and tell everyone talk about how it affected you, what you thought about it, things like that.
So me and Shawn really didn't have a relationship. We actually competed against each other when he got his pro card. And I just remember seeing him backstage, and I was a heavyweight. He weighed over, but they still let him compete in heavyweight. And backstage, it was like, this guy doesn't look very good, got some fat on him. But then on stage, just, under those lights, he just had that look, just full enough. So we really didn't talk that much. He won, and he went to go kind of start his career after that. But, so when I heard about the charges, I know Bostin knows a lot, like all the charges I've been dealing with in the past several years, and false charges, not on a case like that, but a separate case where basically I was looking at 40, 60 years in prison. And the stress, it destroys you in every way, financially, physically, mentally. It just destroys you. And he kept it together well, so I don't think people really knew how deep the demons he was battling. And it's just a sad deal. And I think it just has to do a combination of just everything. But I just know when I was going through all that stress, and I'm still going through some stuff like that, I go to the cardiologist. I'm like, dude, I have a pain in my left shoulder, my back, and they do tests. They're like, it's just panic attacks. Your heart's good. I'm like, okay. And
brother, we should talk about this sometime privately. So on this
yeah.
topic,
So I mean,
sorry to interrupt, Armon.
Okay.
No, I was going to say, I have a similar feeling about that personally. I don't know about Shawn's case in detail, but I'm a person that from the first time I was arrested, I was 15 years old. I've been arrested in many countries all the time for things I did, genuinely, usually violence. I was arrested once, and there was a charge claimed against me once that I was totally innocent from. I didn't do what was said. And I couldn't really prove it because I have a history. I'm tattooed from head to toe almost. I look like a violent person. And in the case of Shawn Rhoden, I don't know if you guys remember, he was going to court in Utah. For those that don't know, Utah is mainly a Mormon state. And in Utah, the Mormon church actually didn't even allow African Americans into the church until late 1970s. Utah is notorious for this because the Mormon church actually used to believe historically that darker skinned people were devils. This is a true story. They used to think about the Native Americans as devils. So there's a lot, and you think of a jury of your own peers there. I mean, just the psychology of, I'm a black guy, 300-pound bodybuilder, innocent white girl is claiming I raped her. We're in a room alone together. There's no way I can prove myself innocent. So like, just psychologically, if you're innocent, it's way harder because you might go to prison for something you didn't do. And especially if the thing you didn't do, you would never do. You know what I mean? So this is just my share on that. I really understand. I really feel that way. I was thinking like this thing, the stress, man, when I had that happen to me, my hair was turning white by the day. You know, I was losing hair. Sometimes I pull out my hair, it would fall out. And I never had that problem when I was arrested for things I really did. You know what I mean? But that really got to me. Blue, what were your feelings, brother?
I didn't know him personally, but it's definitely a tragedy. I mean, it's horrible, absolutely horrible. And it's even worse to see, you know, certain people, you know, chime in with just horrible things. It's just, you know, I'm sure we've all, you know, heard the things, you know, from Shawn Ray and, you know.
Well, actually, we have a sorry to interrupt. We have a question on this that makes it funny. Dejwick said, "What do you guys think about Ray being a snake again and Palumbo being a rattlesnake, inviting him knowing he's gonna spill the VVS?" Various kinds of snakes involved.
It's very obvious that was all orchestrated. Dave is a living virus. I mean, literally. So, you know, he knows what Shawn was going to say. It's not like they didn't discuss anything previously. He knew it was going to cause havoc. And then now he's trying to play the innocent game. You know, the dude's a sociopath. So, you know, it's coming back and hitting him.
But Blue, can I point out something that everybody else is missing when they all say Dave did this horrible thing by bringing Shawn Ray on, and Shawn Ray, by the boss, I don't know if you saw it, but Shawn Ray literally said that Shawn Rhoden was a drug addict. So that's where it got really hectic.
I can't.
We'll go to you next. Okay, all right. So, but the thing about it was this, right? People missed this other part. Before he brought on Shawn Ray in the first discussion with Chris Aceto is like saying something nice about Shawn Rhoden. Obviously, he's very emotionally involved. You could see Chris is like, and then Dave responds, "Well, Shawn was no angel." Like, where did that come from, bro? This was a eulogy. Why would you mention that? So he's the first one to mention it, not Shawn. Shawn just took it up a notch, and Chris stopped him. He was like, "What? Like, what did you say?" Like, it was obvious there was a weird. But yeah, that's been very odd also. But I mean, a couple of things. Like, a lot of people have been saying, "Hey, Chris Aceto is somewhat responsible for his passing," and I personally don't think so, and I want to explain why. First of all, Chris Aceto is not someone who puts himself out there as a health expert. Like, if it was Dave Palumbo, maybe he checks people's blood work and he's into that. That's different. Nobody thinks Chris Aceto is a health expert, first of all, right? And he doesn't claim to be. But second of all, in the time that Shawn Rhoden was near passing, it was like a 2-3 year period where he wasn't competing. I imagine that Chris was not advising him in much detail in the first place. They were probably just friends catching up with each other. And second of all, even if he did advise him, imagine, maybe he did tell him, "Hey, Shawn, maybe you shouldn't be 280 pounds now," or something like that. He could have, but it may be the case that Shawn didn't listen. You know, and Chris isn't going to come out here and say, "No, I advise him not to do that," whatever. So I just don't see like how Chris is responsible. A lot of people have been saying this. They've been saying Chris is responsible and he's deflecting by talking about Shawn Ray and the people that insulted Shawn Rhoden and so on.
Shawn Rhoden wasn't working with Chris Aceto. He only works with him pre-contest. They weren't even like on a off-season training program. I mean,
exactly. That's what I would have thought. Exactly. Boston, what were your thoughts about not the court case, but like in terms of his early death?
Well, you guys are gonna get me in trouble, but honestly, I have a complete different perspective of what Blue has. I like Shawn Ray because in an industry full of like fucking cockstrokers, He doesn't mind going on there on an Olympia broadcast and telling people how it is. He doesn't mind. And it seems like they're trying to silence him, because I saw that interview that got posted with Jake Woodenham, and it seems like they're trying to silence him. And I think if you're not fake, you don't mind, saying what's on your mind and stuff like that. So I personally liked the Shawn Ray interview. I thought it was very good. I thought it was informative, and I thought he brought up, key points, and I agreed with everything he said. And I don't know why everyone was getting so butthurt about it. I could see why his close friends would be upset, obviously. But this is the problem. This is the problem when someone dies, and it kind of upsets me a little bit. When somebody dies, these kids that never even met the person, or maybe got a picture with them at an expo, or maybe had a conversation with them at an expo or a show, they think he's like they think someone that passes, you only hear good things, right? You only hear, oh, he was the best person in the world, this and that. And from everyone, you don't hear anything bad, right? You think the guy's a saint, but you have to understand there's other sides of the story that don't get aired, but people are fake, and they're just going to report on the positives when somebody dies. So that's as much as I'm going to say about it.
But about what you said about Shawn Ray.
I do agree with Bostin about how Shawn Ray is open, and how he critiques and all that stuff. That I like about Shawn Ray.
I disagree with both of you about that.
I just didn't like what he said about certain things immediately after the death. I just thought it was bad timing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously nobody wants to hear that right after a death. But if Dave's going to bring him on the show and ask the question, I'd rather somebody be honest about it than fucking lie about it. You know what I mean?
But bro, he wasn't honest. Like, if you look at the discussion,
I can't get into this. I know too much. No.
Not about Shawn Rhoden. I'm saying he was talking about the deaths in bodybuilding in the discussion. He was there aren't many more deaths. That's not true. What are you talking about? He's like, no, they weren't. This guy was not competing. There's not many more deaths. We don't have an issue.
Dave called him out on that, and he said there is more deaths.
Yeah, he did. But wait, a couple more things. So you said Shawn Ray, like you said, he's willing to tell the truth. What I think people notice is this: he's not willing to tell the truth about everything. He's willing to tell the truth about what suits him. So, for example,
I agree. He does have an agenda. He does.
And then you said he's not a suck up like the rest. Okay, if he's not a suck up, why is he literally? Have you ever seen in jail those jail movies where somebody holds somebody's pocket when they walk around the jail? You know, the bitch that holds somebody's pocket? That's Shawn Ray holding the IFBB's pocket. You would have to. Yeah. I don't know what you would have to do to get Shawn Ray to criticize the IFBB.
Why don't you think they haven't banned him yet? He must know something about the IFBB that they don't want to get out.
That's what I thought. Maybe he knows.
It has to be. He knows some secrets that he knows if they unemploy him, he could just go off. Because, dude, the IFBB has tons of secrets that they don't want people to know. And Shawn Ray's in that area where he would know. You know what I mean? There's no way.
That's very true. Now, okay, well, just couple more points. I wanted to mention that. I forgot what that was, but I wanted to mention. So he had two heart attacks, according to someone who knew him closely. Some people are saying he had one, but
Trigili did a video saying he had three.
Trigili started making up shit. I'm the one who heard it was two. Trigili mentioned two from me, I think. But anyway, I don't know if it was two or not. But what do you guys make of that? Because I have my own impression. Like, I'll tell you what I was thinking. If I was in his position, man, and my court date is 2 months, coming up in 2 months. If I get that court rate, whether I'm guilty or innocent, if they say I'm guilty, my life is fucking over. Like, I am a sex criminal. Anywhere I go to register, man, all my neighbors have to know. I'm going to be in prison with sex criminals. He's not going to be in the regular prison. He's going to be in the protective custody with rapists. It's the worst thing you could do with your life for years. It is hell what he was facing. So I thought maybe this guy's saying, look, I got the court date in 2 weeks, in 2 months. Either it's going to go well, in which case I want to go compete. So I'm going to gain my size, or it's going to go badly, in which case, fuck it, my life's over. You know what I mean? So I wonder if that's what he was doing when he put that like Hail Mary trying to get to 280 or 300.
So Leo, you think it was more stress related from the case?
Yeah, I think it was stress related. I think the stress related stuff even made him push the envelope right before it.
Do you guys know, does anybody know if he was confirmed vaccinated or not? I know Trigili did a video saying he was not vaccinated, but I can't trust anything that guy says.
No, yeah, it's funny actually. Man, that guy posts a lot. Blue thinks his views are fake. A lot of people think his views are fake.
I think his views and comments are fake. There's no way that guy's getting that many views.
I don't know.
Dude,
it's a lot.
You remember he tried hiring a hacker to go after another coach. You remember that?
Yeah, Phil Viz.
Well, he also has fake Instagram subscribers. When his Instagram got shut down, he got like 30K within a couple of days.
And if anyone would be able to find YouTube bots, it would be him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's all fake. He's completely hated. He's not respected. The only thing he's been successful at is gay porn. The dude is completely worthless, but he gets 15,000 views in an hour. I mean, come on now. I mean,
yeah, no, I think, and dude, like 400 and 500 comments on some of these videos.
Yeah, the comments is what gets me. I'm like, but I think, you know what it is? I think there are new bodybuilding fans that like got into it because of like Nick Walker or these guys, and they don't know about Trigili. So they're like, oh, this is the source, the real info. All the
every video he does, he begs for subscribers in the beginning. He's like, please sign and subscribe.
You know where he got that from, bro? He's copied mine. That's me begging on my normal informative videos. He literally stole the sentence.
You don't do that anymore.
No, on my informative videos I do. I always say, please subscribe. He literally stole the sentence. Lucy saw it. She was like, what is this? He stole your thing. So anyway, I'm not upset, but it's pretty funny. Okay, I want to mention one more thing, guys. So some subscribers sent me a message because everyone knows I like Guy Cisternino a lot, although Bostin has a different opinion, but I like Guy a lot. So I heard, apparently in the recent Fouad Abiel podcast, I opened the podcast, listen to the sections. So Guy mentioned that he did a CAC score. That's a coronary artery calcium score, which you do with a CT scan, which is what Palumbo is telling everyone to do. Very damaging. But the important thing is this: if you have a CAC score over 0 at any of our ages right now, any 4 of us, that's very dangerous. That means you had plaque 10 years ago that got healed with calcium recently. You don't know how much plaque you have because that's 10 years ago. So you're developing plaque since then. You don't know what it is. Guy said that he had he said it was low, but what I sense was it's over 100. So I just want to mention here, if any of our subscribers like Guy Cisternino, text him, explain to him that if he has any kind of calcification, it's very advanced. And there are ways to inhibit it or slow the progression also. Hey, did any of you guys get the CAC score? Have you guys done it?
I've never got that.
Well, Bostin, I didn't expect it. You need to do it. Why don't you do it?
I'm getting really, I go in for my transplant evaluation in December, first week of December. So cross my fingers that I pass.
Have we talked, you're going to pass, but have we talked about where they're going to put the kidney? Do you know about this?
Yeah, they put it in your abdomen. It looks like shit.
It's fucked up.
That's why, hey, if I want to compete, I'm definitely doing my competition on dialysis.
Or you wear the board shorts and cover it. Wear those high board shorts like the boxers do. You put it really high.
No, some of them are higher up. Some of them you can't even hide.
All right. So the second thing is, have you guys heard that Cali Muscle, like the day after the Shawn Rhoden thing, Cali Muscle is also 46-year-old, also had a heart attack. So I don't know if you guys know much about this, but his heart attack seems to be he had a fully clogged artery, which is something totally avoidable. So I just wanted to mention on the podcast, guys, nobody needs to have plaque. If you want, you cannot have plaque, you know? So a lot of things are happening.
What test can I go in for one of these, Leo? What can I ask for? Where can I go?
Well, the best test is a cardiac fMRI. There are a few other ultrasound kind of tests. You can do ultrasounds of these coronary arteries to try to estimate without damaging yourself. But the CT scan is damaging, but it's very quick. You'll know quickly. At your age, you should not do a CT scan.
Which doctor would order a lab like that?
A cardiologist. Basically, how it would happen is you'd go to this is what let's not say that. Let's say what a person would do if he was intelligent. He'd go to a cardiologist. He would call his insurance. Say, hey guys, I would like a list of all cardiologists covered by my insurance in my area. Get the list, takes 15, 20 minutes. Write them into Google. See who has a 4.5 star or above, who has over 20 reviews, who graduated from a somewhat good university. Pick a couple of those guys, book more than one of them, 3 cardiologists. Go to each one. This is what a smart guy would do. He would say, my mother died in her 40s of a heart attack, and both of her parents died in their 50s from a heart attack. I have the ApoE4 variant in my genes. I checked. I've had high cholesterol since my early 20s. In my early 20s, they put me on ezetimibe and a statin, and it's controlled my cholesterol. But it's been years, and I've never done a scanning other than a CT scan. I want to know how much plaque I have because my whole other side of my family keep dying. Any responsible doctor, if he hears all of this, will immediately be able to order you an fMRI.
And do you have to get referred to a cardiologist by your GP?
Depending on your insurance. So some insurance will have to refer you, not all of them do. But in Cali's case, this was totally avoidable. Like if you don't eat sugar and saturated fat, If you're, and he was African American, also predisposed to this stuff, and the steroids and no protective medications, he wouldn't, if he had medications and stuff, this wouldn't have happened, you know? The final thing is, how did Victor Richards come back alive? And is he really alive, or is he dead, or what's going on?
Alive. He made a post yesterday and today, and he notified everyone. He even put a video up of himself. And, I mean, dude, for RX Muscle to go on, jump on that, like, I guess somebody started a rumor, and every news outlet just jumped on it.
I'll tell you what happened exactly.
Okay, yeah.
It was Generation Iron. Generation Iron posted about it, and everyone else got nervous because they posted first. So everyone went and posted immediately, including me. I posted not a video, but a story on my Instagram. I was just sad. I said another bodybuilder passed. So, but then like a few hours later, the guy's alive, but he never posted about it. He still disappeared for a few days.
Yeah, so he finally made a post last night, and he said the reason why he didn't post is because he's with his son and he barely gets to see his son or whatever. But you know what's funny, man, is I think it could have been a possible publicity stunt for him. He's trying to launch my dad knows who Victor Richards is, and I know a lot of people, like Larry Pollock used to be his friend.
Oh, really?
So I know a lot of people that know like Victor Richards, and they say this guy will do anything for like some sort of attention. So a lot of these people that are close to him thinks that he leaked the rumor and then waited like 3 or 4 days to post just to get followers, because the reason why is because I guess he's starting up a podcast.
Oh, really?
He's trying to get people on there. But like 3 days before, he posted about Shawn Rhoden's death, and then he just ghosts for 5 days and then finally just comes out and say, "Hey, I'm alive, guys."
That makes so much more sense, Boston. And by the way, I don't know if you've ever seen his interviews, but this guy is worse than Kai Green.
Off the wall.
But he's like constantly BSing. Like even in the post that he made about being alive, he's like, these devils are doing these kind of things to me. And then he said, "I have never been healthier in my entire life." What? How is that possible? When you were 15, you were not healthier? You're 50 something. What are you talking about?
A lot of people also believe that he got hospitalized. And that's why he took forever. But a lot of people, most people that I've talked to that know him and know him like personally from back in the day, they said this guy would definitely be the one to pull like a fake death, like rumor, just to get attention. Yeah,
I believe it now, to be honest with you. Okay, what do you guys think about Palumbo's testing strategy? So basically, for those that don't know, once all these deaths started once Shawn Rhoden's death happened, for some reason, after Shawn Rhoden's death, even though Shawn wasn't competing, Palumbo suggested that people should do blood tests and some scans every year as being mandatory in the IFBB. And then actually on Fuad's channel, Fuad also suggested the same thing. So people are pressing, and apparently Palumbo talked to the Manians about this. So what do you guys think about this? Does anyone have an opinion? Because I have some opinions, and I'm not really that pro it, to be honest with you.
Okay, so how the IFBB should like implement the testing, or what's the question again?
I'm not saying that they should, but Palumbo is saying that they should implement testing to save athletes. I mean, I question whether it will save athletes, whether it'll put liability on the IFBB, whether blood tests are even that useful. Scans are useful. Scan of the heart, kidney, liver, because that's what happens to these bodybuilders. They have organ dysfunction. So scans, and that takes a while. Like a blood test can change within days, but a scan, your kidney is not going to change that fast. So scans maybe, but then it puts liability on the IFBB. You're testing your athletes for health, and they're dying left and right. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why nothing has really changed. You know, my wife, she's a doctor of PT, but she does mostly cardiac. And if I tell her, hey, this is not feeling so good, you know, go, she'll give me an appointment right away and make sure I'm okay. Of course, because that's her profession, wants to make sure I'm okay. But, you know, nothing's been implemented because nothing's really going to work because half these guys know their blood is bad and going to get worse, and they don't care. That's the problem. They don't care. They just want to keep going. So if they had to do that, and someone told them like, hey, you got to back off and wait till you're healthy to start doing this again, that wouldn't go over well with a lot of.
But how about if they didn't let them compete unless they got the proper tests?
But then this is the question, right, Boston? What's the limit? So when do you say somebody's healthy to compete in terms of liver values, for example? Like if their liver.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think it's the dumbest thing ever that Dave said that. There's no way that would ever be implemented, and there's no way. There's too many people that compete in that. What are they only going to test IFBB, or are they going to test the NPC too? You know what I mean? Like what are you going to test hundreds and hundreds of thousands of athletes? There's no way.
Well, even if it was affordable, but the thing is, I don't know how informative it is, and I wonder how much it puts a liability on the IFB, because at this point, everyone's an independent contractor, right? And they go in to compete. They're responsible for their own stuff. When you start having insurance and mandatory health checks,
but Dave doesn't realize that he's like, oh, just have him get it in the beginning of the year and it'll clear him for the whole year like a physical, right? People don't realize I got kidney failure in 1 month. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take long to go from, healthy to unhealthy. You know what I mean? Like, so how often are you doing the check?
From a blood test, unless you do a scan. If you do a scan, maybe you could see something, but a blood test could go from, in 1 month, you could go from, healthy to, and liver failure. You could go to liver failure straight up. Yeah. What do you think about it, Blue?
I think it's an okay idea, but it'll never happen. Just like you're saying with the liability, think how much money they would lose. They would lose mass amounts of money. They would never do it. Never do it. Absolutely not. I mean,
what if they okayed the guy? What if they said he was medically cleared and then he had a heart attack a month later on a show?
That's what I'm saying. There's just too much. It'll be an absolute catastrophe. Like Bostin was saying, a guy could go get some lab work done and then administer something else and completely destroy himself a few weeks later. So, and then what? Then he's gonna, his family could sue the IFBB. It's just the liability. It would never happen. It would be a complete.
Or take too much diuretics prior to a show and die when you are perfectly healthy beforehand.
Which is such a good point, bro, because that's the big thing. A lot of these guys look at the lady that died in Europe. I bet you she may not have had health issues.
Most of the deaths, in my opinion, are electrolytes. If you go back, with the bodybuilders and you actually see most of them as cardiac arrest
Exactly. Competitive bodybuilders are dying of sudden diuretic issues or sudden something, whereas retired bodybuilders in their 40s and 50s are dying of heart attacks. But those guys aren't the ones you want to test anyway.
That is from probably steroid abuse is going to, like I always tell people, taking a bunch of steroids is not going to kill you right away, but it will take, years off your life later down the road. So I think the older guys that are passing, it's not obviously diuretic use, it's just their organs and everything else, and they have issues, and even the ones that are living, they're not really healthy.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of that is, like you said, a lot of these guys are having issues with diuretics.
But the only guys who are dying in their 40s or 50s usually are the guys who kept the size, usually.
Yeah,
except if you look at George Farah, he was not keeping the size. He almost died with the cancer.
George Farah?
Yeah, almost died with the cancer.
Though.
Cancer, yeah. Yeah, the cancer is the only thing they get. The heart attacks, though, if they lose the size later. So basically, your point is, how is it going to protect people that are competing? Those guys are usually, except for Dallas, usually they're dying of sudden diuretic kind of stuff, Good point. Okay, guys, I wanted to briefly, because we had 3 shows we didn't cover that happened. I'm not going to go through them all, but there was the Egypt show. And what happened there, if you guys remember, was that Regan Grimes won. He started working with Milos. He came in very good condition, very full, loaded up and everything like that. And he beat Ahmed Shaban. Ahmed Shaban got very upset about it. He felt like he deserved to win. He was in Egypt, whatever. Then the next show was the Prague Pro. And the Prague Pro, Samson beat Regan and Nathan. And who's the third guy? And Rafael Brandao.
Nathan got fourth,
which unfortunately I don't have pictures from that show, but I wanted to ask you guys, how did Nathan get fourth? I saw he looked really good condition. He didn't look off. He didn't look different.
He was smaller than the other guys. That's the only thing.
He was smaller than them though, right?
He was much smaller. Yeah.
Cause he's shorter, I think. Cause I don't know.
Yeah, but in some shots, a lot of those guys, like I said, I had him fourth too because of how much size, the difference. I was shocked. It looks like he lost quite a bit of muscle because when he beat Rolly earlier in the year, he wasn't that flat.
He didn't look like it. Yeah, that's true. But so what I wanted to show though is I have the photographs from the Romania Pro, just real quick. I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on mainly, this is Behruz Tabani, I think. And this is a guy called, I think, Emir. Emir is, I think, 22 or something like that. He's Chris Aceto's guy. And this is Milos's guy. He's an Iranian guy, this one. But Samson so here got second and Rafael got first. I just wanted to know you guys' opinions on the physiques of Brandon and Samson. Because I don't know what to make of them completely. He strikes me as a physique almost like Shawn Rhoden's.
Yeah, he has good quads, right?
Quads. basically, if you look at him, the main impressive thing is his abdomen.
He has very good structure.
Abdomen and then these flaring quads like Shawn used to have almost. But his arms are really not impressive at all. If you see in different pictures.
Upper body for sure.
And then Samson, everybody says this guy is like really genetically gifted, but I see his muscle bellies are very, round and stuff, but he doesn't seem to have like wide clavicles.
Blue, doesn't it show you how much pro bodybuilding has gone downhill for the guy to win a show with a back like that?
It's like I've said, dude.
Look at his back.
Rafael?
The open division is the most watered down than it has ever been in history. It's so bad, so bad. The guy on the right has glutes.
Behrouz Tabani was shredded.
That guy on the right looks good, man.
Shredded. He was really shredded. These are not good photos of him, but he was unbelievable. Yeah. But I just don't see. People are saying like Brandao is a future. I don't see how. I know he has a small waist, but how can you create arms? This guy doesn't. I'm sure. To me, I'm not sure. To me, it looks like he's doing something to them, but they're not like responding very well. These are not good pictures for it, but his arms are not great.
Who's his coach now?
It's Chris.
Chris is still coaching him.
Yeah. What do you guys make of his physique? Where do you think he's going to end up in the future? And Regan also. What do you think is Regan's future? Now, I said last time, I think that Milos cannot grow people long term. So he's going to, I think, land him in good condition for a few shows and burn out.
If Regan did a really good show, I don't think he would do that well, in the current lineups. But he's doing all these shows after the Olympia when everyone's, started their off season already to sneak in another Olympia qualification. So my guess is the same thing. He qualified for the Olympia and he'll end up in the last call outs again. That's my prediction.
That's 100% right. Absolutely.
And the only way he couldn't is if he gained significant amount of size.
Correct. He's too big. He's like, what is he, 6 feet tall?
Have you guys seen that guy, Matt Jansen, is training Brett Wilkin? He is huge, actually.
And he's morphed, Leo. He's put on like 100 pounds of muscle in like 3.5 years.
You showed me that picture. Remember before a long time ago, you showed me his transformation. I didn't realize it was him. He's huge. Shocking, Matt Jansen, what he does with these guys, man. I got to see that recipe. I really want to find it. I might pay one of his clients to send the recipe.
I would like to see their scans and blood work.
Yeah, I would really like to see that also.
I would pay to see some of his blood work. I would literally pay to see it.
Yeah,
Leo, we already know, and it's not a secret that Matt Jansen pushes gear harder than anyone I've seen at the top level. For the regular guys that hire him, I've seen his programs. It's some cookie cutter regular doses. But I know personally from people that he trained in 2015, before his name got big, what he was prescribing people, and it was astronomical amounts.
But what's his style? Like, we know that guy that loves those heavy dose orals, the super draws or whatever. What's his style? I know it's a high GH thing, but what's his style?
Heavy everything.
Boston, you've had clients of his. I've had clients of his. Blue, have you had clients of his?
I've had so many guys from Matt Jansen, it's insane. Like, I have so many protocols from him, AJ Sims. I could go on and on. Boston knows. I literally have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds I've seen all the protocols, and it's insane dosages. And I'll say it, it's the truth. What he does, it's a beautiful scam, what Matt Jansen does. You got Brett, Clarita, and Nick Walker.
That's it.
So you got guys that will respond to anything, and he completely feels them. And then the other 100 guys he trains online that he doesn't want to show you that look like shit.
They look like shit.
In Boston, me and you both know these dudes that look horrible, they'll tag him in posts, and he'll go and remove the tags.
Yeah.
Want you to see. It's the craziest thing. He is one of the fakest coaches in the industry. If anybody, I've said it over and over again, the guys that he's working with, Stevie Wonder could fucking train. It's not rocket science. He's just pushing massive chemicals on these dudes. There's 3 guys. The rest of his clients, horrible.
I got a quick story about a guy who did North Americans that he prepped that called me after the show. He did the show with Matt. Matt was paying attention to him, the prep he actually did, because he was referred from somebody that Matt respects a lot. The guy worked with Matt, got I think last call outs at North Americans. After he got Matt last call outs, Matt wouldn't even walk with him. The guy tried to meet up with Matt and walk with him, and Matt went around and he wouldn't even be seen with the guy.
That's hilarious. This is so interesting. You know, this is great we discussed this, because just today a friend of mine was asking about this guy's program, so at least we know a little bit about it.
Oh, and Blue, did you see my post yesterday in response to his fucking phony bullshit?
Somebody sent it to me and said, look at this. And I was dying. And then I sent it. Yeah, because it's so true. These dudes where he says, you're talking about the post, just so we can clarify, the post where he says, you know, stick with your amateur, your smaller level guys, just like they're Olympians.
Yeah.
That's so fake. It's so false. It's so crazy.
The opposite of what he does.
That's why I tell people, do your research. Go to the Instagram, do your research. You're going to see nothing but talking and a couple of guys. Him, Phil Viz, one of the fakest coaches there is, has two clients, broke as a joke. The dude is a complete scam artist. And, you know, go and look them up. Go to their Instagram, look up their clients, and then you'll find out who's real so quick. It's a big scam.
Guess who just dropped Phil Viz? Jamie Joel. Jamie Joel, and guess who else dropped him for George Farah was Philip Klahar, the black guy.
Great. The only guy that he did well with, Phil Klahar, was like, get the fuck out of here. I can't do this. I'm not injecting shit every 7 minutes, bro.
Wow. So now he's down to what, 4 clients?
It's that.
Anyway.
It's the truth. These dudes are so fake. I just had a dude, because I started going back to the gym. This guy came up to me at the gym tonight and was like, hey, are you Blue? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, hey, you know, I watched the podcast. I've been following you for years. He goes, thank you so much for speaking out about the fake coaches. And I said, yeah, no problem, man. I said, if it saves somebody's life, it's totally worth it. He's like, dude, he's like, when you do your research, he's like, everything you've been saying for fucking years is true. When you go and really look these dudes up, there's nothing there. They may have a couple of guys, but beyond that, there's nothing there.
Yeah, like Blue, like the clients that hire you that come from Matt, I know you get a lot of them because they probably hire Matt, get no attention, and then look for other coaches and they go to you, right? When these guys come to you and they're from Matt, most of them look terrible, right?
Most of them look terrible. I mean, and there's pros too. I mean, just, a recent one who's battling it out with Matt right now with PayPal because he hired Matt for like the last few weeks of the show. No attention, no nothing. You know, he had to basically do everything at the end himself to pull it off. He goes to Matt and says, hey, I paid you for a year, but dude, this didn't work out. You weren't even around. I basically did my own thing. I want my money back. And so he's trying to get his money back from PayPal, battling it out. Cause he's like, dude, as soon as I get that money, I'm coming to you. He's like, I'm fucking done. But when so many people out there, they don't do enough research. It's sad because once they do the research, then you find out who's real and who's not. All of the truth is out there. You just got to dig a little.
That's great. Hey, let's take some questions before we end. We'll end a bit short because we're going to do another one with the coach calls, which I'm really excited about, by the way. But hey, so we have some interesting questions, some off-topic ones. Patrick Meehan says, and the only reason these don't mention Armon is it was my fault. On the post I made, I forgot to put Armon's name. I forgot he was attending the thing. So I'm sorry about that, brother Armon. But he says, but this applies to all of us. Has either Blue or Bostin or Armon experienced any heart issues while running cycles. Recent events have gotten me to rethink the lifestyle, at least doses. Like Boston, I'm sure a few others, I used to feel like if I was injecting, it felt like a waste to not blast 3 cc's anytime you take a shot. Just wondering if there's a common feeling also. Let's talk about people like freaking out basically because people are dying, and whether anyone else ever noticed any heart. Hey, I could admit something. So when I was taking steroids for 2 or 3 years in a row in arm wrestling, and I was like 240 pounds or so, I used to experiment. This is the only reason this probably happened to me. Like Boston, I used to experiment. So sometimes I used to take like a growth hormone for short periods of 15 units a day or something like that for a month or whatever. When I did that, when I took high growth hormone amounts, or if I ever took an amphetamine while on high androgens, like trenbolone or something like that, I did notice heart things. So what would happen to me is I would have difficulty breathing fully in. And when I would talk, I would notice my chest was moving a lot. And I would sometimes feel like my with the growth hormone in your belly, your abdomen sometimes enlarges with water or whatever. So I would feel like difficulty breathing. I didn't know at the time this is a form of heart failure, temporarily acute heart failure, where you have too much edema in your heart, too much water. The heart is not functioning well. And then with the Adderall, which I use very sparingly, never used it much because once I tried it on these androgens, I noticed something weird's going on. If I was on like trenbolone and I took like 10 milligrams of Adderall, my resting heart rate would go to 95 for the whole day. 100, 95, shit like that could have just destroyed my heart long term. So those were my experiences. I noticed stuff like that. And those are one of the reasons I always talk about this stuff on the channel is because I felt it. I was like, I sometimes I would go out to do things and I would start, even with people, I would start feeling my heart acting funny. I'd go back home. Like shit like that used to happen to me. Did any of that happen to you guys? You ever got a scare where you felt your heart was not beating well? Or if you guys look, this is not just me. Look at Milos Sarshev in any interview. The whole time. That is not good. That is a heart problem, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, I started competing at 18 years old, right? So it was early on, but I didn't take much stuff at all until basically I should have pushed it a lot sooner than I did. But yeah, I would just get let's say I was doing like tren. I never liked tren. It made me feel bad, made me out of breath. Just a lot of side effects. And so I always would get scared, and I always had good insurance. So every time I went to the heart doctor, it was just like, it's anxiety. Are you sure? Yeah, we did run tests, cardiac CTs, all that. Everything was fine. And but I never got into the stimulants. I don't like stimulants at all. I'm already pretty naturally aggressive, so I don't need something to amp me up even more. So I think staying away from stims and other recreational stuff that way has probably kept my heart pretty healthy from,
you guys,
as heavy as I was and still am.
Boston, you and Blue never had any experience with it?
I've had heart palpitations when I ran a shitload of Clen when I was younger, like 17, 18. And I mean, I've had heart palpitations before. And one time, Leo, when I got super heavy, I did a major cheat meal. It was the heaviest I ever been in my life, like 285 or something, the most I ever weighed in my life. And I was having trouble getting oxygen in when I was trying to sleep. I was close to going to the ER. That's how bad it got. It was really hard to get air in, to get oxygen in, and I was having to slow my breathing down. And it was because I ate like a fucking asshole. And I was like, I put on like 8 pounds overnight, and I had that. But I did get those 2 heart tests done that are mandatory for my transplant evaluation. And I passed both of them with flying colors. So that made me happy at least.
Thank God. Blue, you never had an incident like this? Where even palpitation, you never felt?
No, thank God. No. You remember, I never did much anabolics. I'm always open about it. I abused growth hormone and insulin, but
but like for me, the time it happened was with the growth hormone. That's the main time I felt it,
Yeah, I was always really healthy. Like even when I abused those things, like I always got blood work and always got checkups and stuff, and knock on wood, man. I mean, honestly, and Boston knows, just recently, I went and got blood work done last Monday, and my test levels were 66.
Really?
incredibly. You remember, I've been clean for 3.5 years, so
you had no recovery, Blue. You had no recovery.
no, nothing, dude. I mean, nothing. So I had to, I immediately, started, going back to the gym, and then I started TRT today. I started a whopping 25 milligrams of prop.
Bro, I
gotta get something in me.
For some reason,
Blue, you know what I'm more surprised about is how he got his wife pregnant on that low of test levels.
Dude, I know, it's absolutely insane. My estrogen was 56 and my test was 66. I mean,
that is hectic. That is so hectic, bro. You must have felt.
Bro. Well, remember, I don't sleep. I don't eat. Not training. I mean, I think I just get so in the zone in what I do because of, having OCD, which I've talked about for a long time. You just get so in that tunnel of doing what you do. And it's just like things that are not healthy. You don't even realize it because you're in that tunnel. You know what I'm saying? Me staying up for 3 days, that was completely normal.
Yeah, you might be more unhealthy than you were when you were competing because of the sleep issue now. Honestly, you're destroying yourself for no reason.
Well, okay. I started eating food. I started eating 3 times a day last week. I went to the gym all week, went again today, and I got my 25 milligrams of prop in me, so we'll see what happens.
You'll probably feel that prop too. Even 25 mgs, you'll probably feel that shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I hope I feel something.
Well, I'll tell you something weird happened. Even despite injuring my rib and all this kind of crap, I haven't been to the gym in a month. I lost an inch off my arms. If you don't go to the gym for like a week, I took this vacation. I don't know if you guys know, like for a couple of weeks, I didn't do anything. I was like, I shouldn't go to the gym either, take a break. You take 2 weeks off. It's hard to go back there, man. You're like, wait a minute, I'm going to go there. Then I'm going to be inflamed for 2 hours. Can't work properly. Brain fog. Should I really do all this shit? So now I haven't been to the gym in like a month. I lost an inch off my arms. I look weird. So I have to go back to, you guys got to motivate me. All of you are going back. Are you in the gym, Bostin?
Yeah, so occasionally.
My God, you're all going. I need to go back. I
got a good workout out today. Ever since I cut that beta blocker out, I've been getting really good pumps too.
Yeah, it's interesting that the Nibivolol inhibited your pumps too. Usually people get more out of that. More pumps. But okay, so there's a question related to this though. Viva La Ethan said, do you think that some bodybuilders' health problems are caused by recreational drugs, especially stims like MDMA and cocaine? And then he said, Nick Trigili used to say how he'd do MDMA and would sometimes show up to expos still rolling. Guys like Fuad and Seth have also hinted that they used to enjoy cocaine when they were younger. What do you guys think? I don't think this is actually a major thing for most people. I think that the T3 and the Clen before a contest, when you're dehydrated a little bit, is probably worse for your heart than going, doing MDMA every weekend or whatever.
I agree.
Yeah. Because remember, like you're going to be dehydrated on the weekend when you're partying, when you're rolling, whatever. But before the contest, like 3 weeks in a row, high heart rate all the time, doing cardio, dehydrated, heart getting so much stress. I think it might be worse.
What do you think, Armon?
About the I kind of missed a little part. Recreational drugs to...
Basically, they were asking do you think recreational drugs, I mean, we used to talk about this all the time on the forums back in the day, but these younger guys might not have heard of it. Do you think recreational drugs are playing a major role in the deaths of bodybuilders? Like cocaine and methamphetamine, or amphetamine, whatever.
Or I don't know, like the current pros right now, I only prep one of them. So, no, but I know when, like I started bodybuilding, I was going to like my first Olympias and all that, and I would see these top, people I looked up to shooting up ice, meth, smoking meth, doing heroin, all this stuff. And the after party, like right in the booth. And I'm like, and that was when I learned bodybuilding was not healthy at all.
Wow. I never heard that in my life.
Yeah. So even me and Chris Cormier, we hung out one night for we did a three-nighter, and it was me, my boy John Kirby, and these two girls I brought down there. So Chris was like, "Come over to my apartment," blah blah. So we're just sitting there, and he's playing most depressing porn. These chicks have these like plugs in them, these pony plugs, right? And then
Depressing
and they're
porn.
getting their heads. Yeah, it was depressing. They kept getting their heads dunked into the toilet. And I said, Chris, can we change this? It's depressing. Like, can we put on just like a normal movie or something? But they already took like 15 or 20 tabs. I was sober. I didn't take anything yet. And then Cormier was like, hey Armand, I don't know his girlfriend at the time. He's like, hey, you just go in the back room, turn the music up a little bit. I was like, nah, dude, I don't want to have sex with your girlfriend. I'm good. Like, I'm okay. And he's just out of control. And I told John, I was like, dude, we gotta go. Like, I can't be here anymore. It's depressing. But
I've never, by the way, heard of
so
porn described as depressing. This guy was watching some depressing porn. I've never heard that before.
this was depressing.
That's so funny.
Well,
it was
a
different
fetish
then, huh?
girl.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah. The recreational drugs were very, very big then. Lots of coke, lots of ice, coke. Yeah. So it was very different than now. Yeah. I don't think
I
now
wouldn't even know where to
stuff's
get a
going
hold of
on.
that shit if I wanted to try it.
What?
Yeah.
I said I wouldn't even know where to even get that stuff, even if I wanted to
Come
try
to
it.
LA. Come to LA. I got you back. Anything you want. I know LA inside out. We could go to the hoods. We could go to downtown. Everything. When you go downtown, people come up to you. They say, you want to go fast or go slow? That means heroin or meth. They come up to you through the whole street. I used to live downtown, so I would be dodging meth and heroin left and right all day. Yeah, that's pretty. Blue, what do you think about it? Do you think they use? You think it contributes significantly now, today?
I think partially, yeah. I think that stuff's played with, absolutely. You know, I don't know how heavy the abuse is. You know, it's obviously individually based, but I mean, like, I could see that definitely contributing to health issues. Absolutely. You know, some guys, live the lifestyle, the bodybuilding lifestyle 24/7, and other guys go on shifts. I mean, I've seen it, over the years, go and party hard and then come back to this. And then, they just treat it as different vices to keep them moving. But sometimes, you play too hard, there's some serious damage.
I know when Nubain was popular, a lot of people were doing that. And shit, man, if I had a supply of that, I'd be using that shit too. That shit felt way too good. So I could see where I could see why people would do it. You know what I mean? I don't know what drugs compare to Nubain. But yeah, that shit made me super happy. And I wasn't addicted to it because I took it once a week on leg day, and it would make me I train legs so hard because when you were training them, you don't feel the pain. And then the next day you could barely walk because you like brutalize your legs. Armin, I know you've used Nubain. You like that shit?
Armin, please warn him. Please warn him. Huh? Because he thinks this is a joke.
Stores. It's not fun. Okay, here's my Nubain story. I was introduced to Nubain at 16 years old. That's when I was first wanting to get into bodybuilding by this older bodybuilder. He's like, because I was like, I don't drink, because I knew alcohol wasn't good for muscle. He's like, oh, you just shoot this up and you feel good. I was like, okay. I trusted the guy, and then I was like, and it felt good, and it felt different than a hydrocodone, and so it's better. And then I like, of course, bodybuilders like instant things like IV, sub-Q. And so I had a doctor prescribing me, I think it was like 20 bottles a month. So I was only doing it on leg days. And this is like, every time I would prep, like the last 6 weeks, I would just only do it on leg days. That's it. And then in 2016, that's when my opiate addiction kind of went off. I had three surgeries in a 2-month period. Had a bunch of Nubain, and it was about to run out. I called my doctor. He's like, hey, I'm not going to do the Nubain anymore because something with the pharmacy, blah, blah, blah. Call my other doctor, and he's like, we can just give you Dilaudid instead. And I was like, okay, which Dilaudid is stronger than heroin,
Mm.
oxy. It's the strongest, except that the only stronger thing is fentanyl.
Mhm.
So started doing Dilaudid. You think Nubain feels great? Dilaudid.
Were you snorting the Dilaudid?
No,
or shooting?
IV.
Oh, IV.
Yeah,
IVing the Dilaudid. Wow.
Mhm.
My mother is
It was
addicted.
all.
Saying Dilaudid feels better than Nubain?
Bro, Dilaudid is the most powerful opiate you can get other than that fentanyl shit. It is so powerful.
Can you train on it?
I don't think you can.
It's not-
Unless you have a tolerance.
Yeah, you could train on it. So, like, let's say you do a shot of. I compare Nubain is Tylenol compared to. It can't even compare. You would do a shot of Dilaudid, and you'd have to go lay down in your bed because you just get hit by this truck, and it was the best feeling ever. And then like the rush throughout your whole body, it was just.
But the
fell in
only
love.
reason why I like the Nubain is so I could train on it. You didn't like to train on the diluted?
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, even better.
No, I mean, but you could train on if you have a tolerance, right? If he took a Dilaudid, well, maybe if he just took the pill orally, I think maybe it would be fine. But if he IV'd it,
I need to find
You
out
start-
the drug that I got that I have to cut the MIGs, the pills in half. I think we talked about it, Leo. They're 2 MIGs. I forgot what the drug name was. EPO Dave sent them to me.
but you gotta be careful. We'll talk about that. But you gotta be careful, Boston, about opiates. So the problem with the opiates is that unlike any other drug, it sneaks up on you where you get a physical dependence. Well, not unlike any other. Benzos and alcohol do that too, but opiates do it in a really insidious way where you become mentally obsessed with it. And just
I've
be
been
careful.
taking one. Oh no, not one. I've been taking a half of oxy, whatever, for every once a week. Oh, well, not once a week because only when I train legs usually. Or if I don't train legs that week, I'll do it like once a week, and I haven't had any kind of addiction or withdrawal.
Yeah.
Literally just a half of them.
Well, some people could keep it like that. Okay, let's say
Yeah.
you're doing that. Something tragic happens in your family.
Exactly.
Like I had a tragedy happen in my family, so I was like needed to be numb all the time. So I started using the Dilaudid all the time to
Exactly.
numb my emotional pain. Next thing I knew, I'm a full blown, addict. Like,
Bro, that's how it always
hardcore.
happens. Like a guy goes drinking every weekend with his friends, no big deal. And then one day in a weekday, his girlfriend breaks up with him or his family leaves him or whatever. And he's got that bottle there. And he's like, well, if I drink this, I'll feel better tonight. And it slips. You don't even realize it.
So these doctors they give that much of this pain stuff where you could get addicted to it and keep going. Like, don't they know? Like, don't they shouldn't give you just the amount that you need for your pain? Like,
Now, but before, you understand, when I was going to all these pain doctors growing up, I had friends who were like, hey, go to the pain doctor. So I had probably, before I even started using this stuff, thousands and thousands, and probably at least over 10,000 of oxys, 10,000 of Dilaudid before I even started. So when I did start using it, I had all that other stuff just backed up. It was just there. I'd be bored at home, do a, like say my Dilaudid use, I could go use Dilaudid and I'd be top of the world, happy, go train, and then I still feel happy and just keep doing it all day. And I'm like, this is not okay. Something's gonna crash and burn. And it was like 3 weeks, and I ran out, and I was like, I started going to withdrawals, which are opiate withdrawals, the worst. I mean, the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. I'd rather have anything ever happen to me except opiate withdrawals, and then it was just a battle back and forth for like 4 years because I didn't want to be on it, but being so sick for so long,
Mm.
but
Think
just
about it
gotta-
this way.
I
Like
just wanna-
people can't normally quit drugs even without a drug that has a dependency. Like there are people taking like cocaine. They can't quit cocaine for 10 years. They try whatever, but the high, when you quit for long enough, something goes wrong or whatever, you have that high and you go back to it. But with an opiate, you have the dependency where every time you quit, you're actually suffering and sick. So you're both sick and obsessed with the high. And and same with alcohol, to be honest, and Armon, not many people nowadays are true alcoholics, but a true alcoholic, the withdrawal is just like a benzo, you seizures, you die. Opiate usually doesn't kill you, the alcohol will kill you. It's the most painful thing I ever experienced in my life was alcohol withdrawal. Most painful. It's just like you, I would rather go through any fucking thing again except that. It was the most painful thing,
Yeah.
And so be
But I
careful,
talked about
Bostin.
this before over
Like
text.
honestly, Leo, I don't even get. I barely get these things ever. I can only get like a certain amount a month, or not even a month. So even if I try to get addicted, I'd run out in like a day. I literally have like barely any. But I wouldn't get addicted to the Oxy because they make you feel decent, but they don't compare to that Nubain. That Nubain makes you the happiest person in the world.
It's because you're injecting the Nubain and not injecting the Oxy. That's the real reason.
So you're telling me I should crush the Oxy?
No, don't inject oxycodone. I'm just saying
No.
that's the reason.
Is Oxy even water soluble?
Yeah.
No, it's not at all. It's very poisonous. Don't put it with your tap water. Bro, can I let me out you in front of Armon and Blue? This guy is willing to put tap water in his mixture. So this guy might go take the oxycodone, put tap water in it, put it as an insulin syringe that's already used with a broken needle, even though he has a sponsorship for needles, and then he'll go inject it. So
That's
let's be careful.
exactly what I would do. How did you know?
I knew it exactly.
I was already thinking about it. I put it in like a little pen cap and do it.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous.
Bostin, as soon as you IV Oxy, Dilaudid, or fentanyl,
It's over. You'll
done.
never be the same in your life
It's
once
over.
you IV.
What do you mean? Give me an well, I
Your brain will change forever once you IV either
Because-
opiate or meth.
But why didn't I
It's
get
better.
a Nubain?
Nubain's a bit
Nubain's
weaker.
on a wholly different level. Nubain's nothing compared to.
Oh, okay.
It's nothing. It's candy compared to this other stuff. If you went and did that, that's why I told you on text before. Do not ever inject Oxy, Dilaudid. I mean, you will.
It'll change the way you think forever because you've never felt that amount of pleasure before. And when you feel it, it's over.
You don't want sex anymore. That feels better than coming. You use it, inject, shooting up. That feels way better than coming. You don't care about sex. You don't care. I mean, it'll ruin your life. I mean, it took some. I kept my life together, and it was hard, but no one knew I was doing all this. But I'm off now, and I look back. I'm like, man, just that was.
I could tell back a couple of years ago, or even a year ago. I felt like that you would text me when you were high. I always knew when you were high.
By the way, addicts hate to hear that.
That's probably talk text too.
Addicts hate to hear that. I used to hate to hear that also. You want to know that nobody knew. You always want to think that nobody knew, and I kept it.
I didn't know until he's telling me. But now that I knew that he was addicted, I'm like, oh shit! No wonder he was like off the wall with his like texts and shit.
No. Those are probably talk text because when I see them, I'm like, I don't understand it anyways.
That's so funny. All right, guys, we got a couple of more cool questions, but we should do this again within a week. Maybe we can get the callers in, and even if we don't, we have a bunch of really cool questions to talk about.
This was a good one. Blue finally was speaking up. People love all that shit.
I know. I think we needed Armon to get Blue to speak up, and now we got everyone speaking, which is awesome. It was great.
I got a real quick story, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So Nubain story. I was waiting for my dentist. I had to get some dentist work done. This was like 5 years ago. I would preload Nubain syringes in my car. Okay. So the night before, my buddy came to work out. He had an insulin syringe. He preloaded it for his workout. So I'm waiting to get my dentist. So okay, about to go in there. So I get my insulin syringe, put in my IV, shoot it up. I'm like, weird taste in my mouth.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I think I just shot up a whole ml of insulin.
Oh my God.
And IV. And I go straight to breakfast place, order orange juice, doing like that, sugars. And I text, and all I remember is the waitress coming up to me, "Are you okay, honey?" And I'm drenched. The whole place is wet. And I text my dentist. I was like, "Hey, come over here, call the ambulance. I'm not okay." And then the ambulance came and got me. Had to put me up to glucose, and they had to transfer me to another place. And luckily, I lived. And they had all these doctors in there. They're like, "You're just injecting different stuff. You don't know what it is." And they're like, "Well, you're trying to." They said, "Were you trying to kill yourself?" I was like, "No, I wasn't trying to kill myself." I said, I just thought it was Nubain and it was insulin." But just like,
he's like, so you just see it.
Nubain, insulin.
So wait, it was a full cc of insulin. Why would you have a full cc of insulin preloaded?
Because my boy the night before, I picked him up. He preloads it. He was going to take a shot after the gym. It was Novolog. 100 and he wouldn't take the whole thing. He would take it, pre-workout, post-workout, and just leave it in my car. He forgot about it and didn't take it at all. The next day, I thought that was so I shot IV a whole ml of insulin.
So basically, you guys shared needles.
What?
No, he didn't use it yet.
Oh,
he didn't use it yet.
Okay.
I thought originally the story was gonna go that his friend, because I was like, it's a full insulin syringe, so probably he'll have thought it was the Nubain and injected a bit of Nubain in himself, which I thought would be funny. But your story was way more dangerous than I expected.
You know what's the crazy thing, Leo, is when I use Nubain, I'm not kidding you, I use 10 units on an insulin syringe, 10 units. So for Armon to be up to a full CT,
You got him.
I would have been so fucked up.
You got his tolerance there.
By the way, I got one story. I got one drug story before we go. It's funny as fuck.
I started at 10 units too. Well, a long time ago.
What's that drug? What's that drug that Phil Viz likes? Ketamine.
Yeah.
Ketamine.
Okay, this is a funny story. This only happened a few months ago. So, you know, I'm in kidney failure, so I'm like, I can't take my steroids. So I'm like, what else can I fucking take, right? So I'm like, I had from Uber Treats, I had some ketamine, and I'm like, I've never used it before. And the person that Uber Treats told me to get like a little key bump and snort it. So I said, okay, Phil Viz uses it, and he's like a crackhead. I was like, it's definitely a stimulant. So I didn't even look. I didn't even look at it online, didn't research it. I go, Phil Viz takes it. It's a stimulant for sure. So I put it on the counter and I'm trying to sniff it and it starts flying everywhere. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, me, my OCD, I get so pissed off that the powder is like wasting it. So then I put it back in the bag and I take like a key bump because the guy Uber just said do one key bump. So I did one key bump. Sorted it up. I'm like, oh, I probably didn't get any. I was like, there's no way I got any. And then I'm just chilling. I'm about to get ready for the gym, right? I'm like, what the fuck? I go, I'm starting to feel something. And then all of a sudden, you know, I am trashed. Like I had to, I lay the couch that I'm on right now. I turned the lights off and I just laid on my back like this. And I got horny all of a sudden out of nowhere. It got like super horny. So then I started jacking off, but my dick didn't get hard. It stayed completely soft. And I fucking came with a completely soft dick. I've never had that happen.
Or on drugs, that happens sometimes.
Only when you're on drugs, though. Yeah,
Only when you're on drugs, that's true.
So yeah, I was just like, and Leo, I didn't even make it to the gym. I couldn't even get off the couch. I was just jacking off.
Well, of course you wouldn't go to the gym. You must have been disassociating and tripping out as well.
I was so high and like, I thought for sure, like there's no way Phil Viz takes a downer. There's no way.
I know, it's so true. You would never think it. He acts like a crackhead. That's so true.
I know, right? I thought I was gonna like get like some energy rush and like get some crazy workout, but then I just ended up on my couch jacking off.
You thought you'd be texting people nonstop and shit.
Like,
No, it didn't work out.
I was gonna be Nubain high where like I had like energy and I was happy. It fucked me up. I was like, I'll never take this shit again. I was like, I told Ariella the next morning. I said, why the fuck would Phil Viz want to take this shit? I was like. Because I'm like, the only reason I took this shit is because Phil Viz brags about it.
This is literally my response.
It's great for depression.
Is it?
Supposedly,
Yeah.
but as a hedonistic drug, I don't find it fun myself. When I tried it, I was like, why would anybody take this? Also, PCP. Why would anybody take PCP? I don't know if you know this, but Boston and LA, PCP is still popular. They call it like lick water or something. People smoke that shit and they get like paranoid, freak out, do weird stuff.
Strong on that, right?
Yeah, they do, and that's true. The gang members take it before they go shooting. Yeah,
so you can get like a good workout in with it.
Potentially, but you might shoot someone or kill someone in the gym at the same time. Anyway, guys, I'll let you be. This was very fun. We'll talk again next week.
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Have a great night.